How to talk to people in pairs. Alex gazed at the English textbook, a heavy sigh escaping his lips. The words blurred, an intimidating jumble of unfamiliar sounds and complex grammar rules. He yearned to converse fluently, to express his thoughts without stumbling or feeling a wave of intense anxiety. This dream felt impossibly distant, almost an unreachable fantasy. Every online course promised instant fluency, yet Alex found himself paralyzed by fear. The thought of opening his mouth, of mispronouncing a simple word, sent shivers down his spine. Public speaking in his native tongue was daunting enough. English felt like climbing Mount Everest barefoot. Why even bother? A cynical voice whispered in his mind. English is everywhere, but so is translation software. You don't really need it. It's too hard, too late to start now. Just give up. This constant internal debate plagued his every attempt. This insidious thought, why you should not learn English, often felt like a heavy chain around his ankles. It wasn't about the language itself, but the fear of failure, the embarrassment of imperfection. He saw others effortlessly chatting, and the gap seemed insurmountable. But deep down, a persistent longing simmered. He envisioned global connections, understanding foreign films without subtitles, traveling freely. This silent aspiration was the tiny flicker, battling against the overwhelming darkness of his self-doubt and fear of judgment. One rainy afternoon, watching a documentary, a single phrase resonated within him: every master was once a beginner. It was a simple truth, yet it struck Alex with the force of revelation. He realized that the journey, not just the destination, was vital. That moment became his silent catalyst, the point where he decided to take the first, trembling step. He understood that fluency wouldn't appear overnight, but consistent, humble effort would eventually yield results. The fear wouldn't vanish, but he could act despite it. The first tangible action seemed deceptively simple, yet it felt monumental. He decided to embrace the notion of how to talk at home to yourself. No audience, no judgment, just him and his nascent linguistic adventure. A safe, private space to experiment. He started with basic greetings, standing before his bathroom mirror each morning. "Good morning, Alex," he'd mumble, forcing the English sounds. It felt awkward, even silly, but he persevered. This ritual was surprisingly liberating, building a tiny foundation of confidence. As days turned into weeks, his solo conversations expanded. Describing his breakfast, narrating his commute, talking through his grocery list aloud. He focused on everyday vocabulary, connecting words to his immediate surroundings, making the language personal and tangible. He imagined conversing with an invisible friend, practicing scenarios. Ordering coffee, asking for directions, explaining his job. How to Talk in English became a personal project, a monologue designed to stretch his vocal cords and mental agility without pressure. Errors were frequent, mispronunciations common, but in the privacy of his room, they didn't matter. He treated them as learning opportunities, not failures. This self-compassion was crucial for overcoming the initial mental hurdles, a vital step forward. The solo practice, a cornerstone of his way of learning English, built a quiet confidence. He wasn't fluent, not by a long shot, but the sounds felt less foreign, the words less elusive. He was making progress, one murmured sentence at a time. Soon, the mirror conversations felt insufficient. Alex craved interaction, a true back and forth. This was how to take first step for talking beyond himself. He needed a partner, someone equally committed, equally understanding of the beginner's plight. He found Sarah through an online language exchange group. She was learning his native tongue, and he, English. A perfect symbiotic relationship. The idea of how to talk to people in pairs suddenly seemed less terrifying, more like a shared journey. Their first online call was a symphony of stutters and pauses. Both were nervous, fumbling for words, resorting to gestures. Yet, a shared laugh broke the tension. It was imperfect, but it was a genuine, brave attempt at connection in a new language. They decided on regular half-hour sessions, splitting the time between English and Alex's language. This structured approach, a core principle of how to learn English, provided consistency and accountability, crucial for sustained effort. Sarah was incredibly patient, correcting gently, encouraging often. Alex reciprocated. This peer support fostered a safe environment where mistakes were not just tolerated but seen as natural stepping stones on the path to fluency. They started with simple topics, hobbies, daily routines, favorite foods. Gradually, they expanded to current events, travel dreams, even abstract concepts. Each conversation was a small victory, a tiny chip away at the wall of his previous apprehension. The why you should practice speaking mantra became their guiding principle. They understood that theoretical knowledge was inert without active application. Speaking was the muscle, and regular exercise was essential for strength and endurance. There were days when Alex felt utterly exhausted, ready to give up. Days when his progress seemed to stagnate, or even regress. The old voice, why you should not learn English, occasionally resurfaced, whispering doubts into his ear again. But then he would remember Sarah's encouraging words, or recall a small win from a previous conversation. He'd push through, forcing himself to engage, knowing that even a difficult practice session was better than no practice at all. He started recording their calls, listening back to his own voice. It was cringeworthy at first, but invaluable for identifying pronunciation errors and awkward phrasing. This self-analysis accelerated his improvement significantly. Soon, Alex noticed a subtle shift. Conversations with Sarah flowed more smoothly. He could retrieve words faster, construct sentences with less hesitation. The mental effort was still there, but it felt less like a struggle and more like a focused exercise. One day, Sarah shared exciting news: she was visiting his country. They planned to meet in person. Alex felt a surge of nervous excitement. This was the ultimate test, the true application of all their how to talk in English efforts. The day arrived. Alex took a deep breath, recalling all his solo mirror talks and pair sessions. How to take first step for talking in a real-world, high-stakes situation felt incredibly daunting, yet invigorating. They met at a bustling cafe. The ambient noise added another layer of complexity. But when Sarah greeted him, "Hello, Alex. It's great to finally meet you," the English words tumbled out naturally, a response formed almost without conscious thought. They talked for hours, navigating topics seamlessly. He found himself explaining local customs, recommending dishes, even cracking a few jokes in English. There were still pauses, still moments of searching for words, but the overall flow was remarkable. This was the breakthrough, the moment when all the theoretical way of learning English methods coalesced into a tangible reality. The countless hours of how to talk at home to yourself and how to talk to people in pairs had paid off. Alex felt a profound sense of accomplishment, a joyous liberation from the linguistic prison he had built for himself. The cynical voice in his head had finally been silenced, replaced by the resonant sound of his own confident voice. His confidence soared. He started actively seeking opportunities to speak English. He joined an international book club, participated in online forums, and even offered to assist tourists in his city. Each interaction solidified his newly found fluency. The world, once closed off by a language barrier, now unfurled before him. New friendships blossomed, professional opportunities emerged, and his understanding of global cultures deepened immeasurably. English became a key, not a burden. He understood that learning English was not just about mastering grammar or vocabulary. It was about embracing vulnerability, persevering through frustration, and celebrating small victories. It was a journey of self-discovery and connection. The initial discouragement, the thought of why you should not learn English, now seemed like a distant, absurd memory. It was a challenge to be overcome, a stepping stone rather than a roadblock, a test of his inner resolve. Alex often shared his story, emphasizing the simple yet powerful techniques that transformed his fear into fluency. He advocated for starting small, talking to oneself, finding a patient partner, and above all, consistent practice. He explained that the act of how to take first step for talking is often the hardest, but once initiated, momentum builds. The initial discomfort eventually gives way to a sense of empowerment, a growing linguistic freedom. Why you should practice speaking, he would passionately explain, is because language is a living thing. It needs to be breathed, used, and exercised constantly. It's not just knowledge, it's a skill, like playing an instrument. He stressed the importance of embracing mistakes, seeing them as valuable feedback, not reasons to stop. Every single error, he'd say, is a lesson in disguise, guiding you closer to accuracy and natural flow. The way of learning English, he discovered, was not a linear path but a spiral, revisiting concepts, building layers of understanding. It was messy, human, and incredibly rewarding in its progression. Alex became a testament to the idea that anyone, regardless of their starting point, can conquer the challenge of a new language. His journey proved that dedication trumps innate talent almost every time. He now found joy in nuanced conversations, in understanding subtle humor, and in expressing complex ideas. The frustration had given way to an authentic love for the language and its endless possibilities for communication. His story became an inspiration for others struggling with similar anxieties. He showed them that the battle wasn't against the language, but against their own internal fears and limiting beliefs. He often reflected on his early days, the whispered doubts, the overwhelming feeling of inadequacy. The memory served as a powerful reminder of how far he had come, validating every single effort. The journey of how to learn English was an ongoing one, a continuous process of refinement and expansion. He knew there would always be more to learn, new phrases to master, and richer depths to explore. But the core fear, the paralyzing anxiety, had dissolved. He was now a confident communicator, ready to engage with the world, one English conversation at a time, relishing every spoken word. He found immense satisfaction in helping others embark on their own linguistic adventures. He emphasized patience, persistence, and the joy of small victories, just as Sarah had taught him. The ripple effect of his decision to learn English extended far beyond personal growth, influencing his career trajectory and global network, creating unexpected and profound opportunities. His life was richer, fuller, and infinitely more connected. The world felt smaller, more accessible, thanks to his persistent efforts and courage to simply start talking. Alex's story truly underscored that the path to fluency is paved not with perfect grammar, but with consistent, courageous communication, even if it begins with just a whisper to oneself. It highlighted the transformative power of embracing discomfort, using resources like pair practice, and understanding that mistakes are merely signposts on the road to mastery. He proved that the seemingly insurmountable mountain of how to talk in English can be climbed, step by painful, beautiful step, especially when you have the right mindset. So, if you're standing on the precipice of learning, remember Alex. Remember that overcoming the fear of how to take first step for talking is half the battle won. Understand that the voice saying why you should not learn English is a lie, a barrier, not a truth. It's a challenge to be overcome, not a reason to quit your dreams. Embrace how to talk at home to yourself, find your pair, and know why you should practice speaking every single day. Your journey starts now. The way of learning English is unique for everyone, but the core principles of courage, consistency, and connection remain universal. Go forth and speak.